Good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to participate in this event on net zero pledges and on the crucial role they will play towards the transition to decarbonized and resilient societies. This debate is even more relevant after COP27, where we have seen the first big win for climate justice, but also a missed opportunity to accelerate global decarbonization. At the end of the day, negotiations reflected the turbulent times we are living in. They were very much polluted by political dynamics not necessarily related to climate, like human rights or military tension, and other dynamics more related and more worrying, like the return of the rhetoric of gas as a transition fuel. Positive note to elaborate ahead COP28. While it is true that COP27 did not make any further the discussion on climate admission, it is also important to recognize that despite the geopolitical challenges, it managed to gather all the countries around the climate agenda. And what does it mean? This means that we have seen willingness to be part of a transition that requires deep changes in the current economies and societies, but also we have seen division on how to move this transition forward at the speed and also with the technologies needed to close the big gaps on mitigation and solidarity. It is also true that COP27 allowed for a conversation on key concerns and aspects and reached two important breakthroughs. The two more prominent, the setup of a new fund for loss and damage as part of a mosaic of solutions, and my favorite one, a strong call for the structural reform of international financial system to better serve climate but also sustainable development goals, but also provide hooks to more sectoral discussions that are getting more importance, which are very much linked to the solutions to the climate crisis, but also to the solutions to the rest of the crisis we are passing through. These agendas were about ocean, water, sectoral decarbonization pathways included in the Global Climate Action Agenda, and also ecosystems and nature. Special attention now will be needed to this last agenda, with Brazil back at the negotiating table. That's good news. But also now with the attempt by some countries to turn carbon offset as new manna to reach net zero. We need to be responsible and we need to avoid the creation of another problematic economic bubble. So this is a positive agenda that we need to manage, with responsibility in the coming months. And also positive issues that were reached and more mainstreaming agenda was a big step on just transition, a big step also in gender equality or public participation and public awareness. So elements that would help the green transition and elements that will help citizens to understand the good transition and the benefits of the green transition to them. We didn't move forward, but also we didn't move backwards. That's also an important message. And I think that it's fair to say that was thanks to the EU that stood firm against the attempt to reduce ambition, not only in the cover decision, but also, in the mitigation program. That was my global overview assessment of COP27, but I would like to make some comments on four specific issues related to the solidarity agenda, to mitigation opportunity or the mitigation opportunity, to the role of the non-sectors and the necessity for more credibility and more cooperation. On the establishment of new funding arrangements for loss and damage. We consider it a very, very positive outcome, but because it integrates the two visions or the two ways we need to work on that agenda. First, COP27 not only responds to the needs of the most vulnerable of the vulnerable countries, that will be a discussion that we will have in the next year, with the establishment of a new fund to address loss and damage due to the most extreme impacts of climate change, such as flooding, droughts, fires. We have witnessed most cruel examples last summer, but also, and most importantly, because response to the EU's vision of how to more effectively address the financing of loss and damage. We were of the opinion that a mosaic approach is needed to respond seriously to the problem, and following that line, the fund will be part of a package of financial arrangements that were also established at this summit in Sharm el-Sheikh. This is a very innovative decision that will work on mobilizing new and additional resources within and outside the Climate Convention. The agreement reached opens the door to the consideration of different sources of funding beyond public budgets, opening a new debate on the consideration of alternative sources, not only public alternative sources, but also private alternative sources. For example, the special drawing rights or the taxes to most emitters companies that the Secretary General pointed out, and also the Prime Minister from Barbados. The decision also hints that contributions to the fund may come from donors other than the traditional ones. The main debate is whether China, as the major emitter, should also play its part and contribute. This will be the key political discussions in the coming months around the fund, how we are going to share the responsibilities based on the 1992 wealth indicators, or we are going to share the responsibilities based in today's news reality. We need to open that discussion, and we need to put all the ingredients in the receipt. The discussion started in Glasgow. It was not totally new, but how it's linked to the big debate, how it's linked to the debate on the need to mobilize new sources of finance to address climate change and its impacts is the interesting point. Is the interesting agreement that we were able to reach. That means that we need to make clear that the call for multilateral development banks and financial institutions to reform their practices and priorities should be based on align and scale up climate finance, and also on ensure simplified access to resources. So they need to work on all the instruments and all the tools. It's not only a title, it's the necessity to change the structures of how we are financed our development. Furthermore, in the context of the discussion on loss and damage, and this was very specific mention, the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank has been invited to consider in the next spring and autumn meetings in 2023 potential instruments and potential ideas on how to contribute to these new financial arrangements on loss and damage. So, very good results, a very innovative proposal, and a challenging year to land all the mandates that we have enshrined in the COP decision. Second specific issue, I would like to share with you some messages. 2022 has been a lost year for mitigation. We failed to make substantial progress with respect to the Glasgow Climate Pact. We made an exercise of copy and paste what we have already agreed in Glasgow. So we kept 1.5 alive, but very, very wavering. And why for? Because countries, at the end of the day, did not demonstrate sufficient progress on their mitigation commitments, that we don't have to forget that is the main goal under the Paris Agreement. Despite all positive announcements on climate regulation, the US Inflation Act, the good news also on the Fit for 55 European package, Japan and others, the numbers of their UNEP-GAP and UN synthesis report clear shows that the world is still on a 2.5 or 2.4, 2.8 warming scenario. So this is the reality, and there is the challenge, that we need to cope with urgency in the coming years and in the coming months before COP28. Without a huge greenhouse gas reduction, 1.5, it will be very, very difficult to keep on reach. And also we missed the opportunity to agree in the cover decision a good reference to peaking, the global peaking of emission by 2025, and also a language on fossil fuels phase down agreement. That was very disappointed, and I think that was, as I said, a missed opportunity. The phase down of fossil fuels, not only coal, was requested by the European Union and 80 other countries, including India. So we are hoping that in the G20 we have good announcement on that. And the specific section on energy that we applaud at the beginning was at the end of the negotiations at the last minute, contaminated and polluted by a reference to low emission fuels, so including gas, opening the door again to consider gas as a transition energy. Third issue, the role of non-state actors continues to grow. This is also very positive. I think that the action agenda was a very instrument to build upon. A new, very, very new instruments, very new actors, and also, credibility on the commitments that they are putting on the table. So the focus this year on ensuring the credibility of the commitments made by non-state actors really gives legitimacy to this agenda, and we need to still working on that. And this is the topic of the discussion so you are having today. So I'm pretty sure that you will make a step forward, on how to land, the ideas that you were shared, the inform and the commitments, that have been put on the table, and also, the report from the high-level panel of experts on net zero emissions that was really very, very welcome by Spain. How to make this credible? The last point I would like to highlight is the increasing interest in the sectoral agenda with the concrete identification of decarbonization pathways in key sectors, driven especially by the progress of the breakthrough agenda that we started at COP26, and that the first report published in September this year sent a clear message or a main message, that I wanted to add it to the previous one. We have, an international collaboration gap that threatens the achievement of the zero goal for decades. So to finalize, I would like to remark this message, or to highlight this message that is very clear and is twofold. We need credibility, we need collaboration, and we need acceleration. Thank you very much.